What's up guys? Welcome to the Q&A video. I made a post saying that I'm going to be doing Q&A. This is the video, so I'm going to rip through the comments on my phone and just kind of pick the ones that are appropriate and answer it accordingly. I haven't read through it at all, so they are actual genuine answers. And yeah, let's get to it. So first question at Evan_ear. What is your favorite body part to work? Honestly, it used to be legs when I could squat, because I loved the idea of getting under heavy weight and like being able to push myself that hard. But because I can't train legs anymore, I think I'm gonna have to go to chest, because that's kind of my second strongest thing. I love benching heavy, and there's no better feeling than a big chest pump when you feel thick as a tree, so I'll go with chest for right now. Next question, why are you so sexy? Ask my parents. They blessed me with some decent genetics. Questions on here a lot. First one by at Jake Galau. How often / frequently do you practice your vacuum? So my off season, I don't do it that much. I'll pose maybe like once every 2 weeks, if that, if I'm like feeling a little frisky on the day, and I'll practice it in my posing, obviously, because when I'm on stage I hit it. But when I'm prepping, I literally do it every day. Starting at about 10 weeks out, I'll do it every day. Usually sometime in the morning when I have an empty stomach. It kind of helps me get it really deep and get the muscles used to stretching out and sucking in that deep when there's nothing in the way. And then I usually pose after I train. So I'll do it in the morning, empty stomach, and again later in the day when I'm a little more full after I've trained, a little bit tired. Just to kind of get the two different dynamics of hitting it. So I'll do it at least once a day, sometimes twice a day if I practice posing that day. And you can see some of my old pictures from shows of me hitting a vacuum, and it was not nearly as deep as after when I started practicing a lot more. So 100%, the more you practice, the longer you can hold it more comfortably and the deeper you can get it. So practice as much as you can. At AZWI91, what are your favorite / go-to back exercises? So my favorite back exercise. Cameraman just hit the damn window, so keep going. Favorite back exercise is probably barbell rows or dumbbell rows even. Again, I like moving some heavy weight, and I find that the motion of me actually leaning over with a free weight and rowing is the best contraction I can get on my mid back, and kind of really work on that thickness, because I have no problem doing lat pull downs and getting my lats wide as hell, but it's my back thickness I'm focusing on right now, so I'll have to go with bent over rows. Questions from at Rob Chomp. He says, do you play any video games? If so, what? I try and play video games, but that is not my forte. My friends were always into them, so I tried, but I was always awful at them. So I play more single player games, like I have Fallout 4 and like Assassin's Creed and things I can play on my own time. I have tried, what's that game called? Fortnite, because everyone's raving about this. All my friends play it and they keep inviting me on PlayStation to play, but I have played it like twice and I was the first one dead every time, and I didn't even figure out how to play it, so I just said that and I have not played again. So yeah, single player games only, because I'm not good online. At Chanwu_Ang says, what old school physiques do you admire? Obviously there's a lot. Obviously why I'm in classic physique is the reason because I like classic physiques. But one I looked up to a lot as a kid was Tom Platz, because the guy had some nasty legs on him and he trained like a beast. I was always drawn to the size of his legs because they were just crazy. Another was Barry DeMay. The guy just had like a pretty American boy look. He had a great physique aesthetic. He was tall, big, nice hair, you know. You can't really beat that. Of course, the legend Arnold, everyone likes him, so that's kind of not even a question. But probably, other than Arnold, probably Tom Platz and Barry DeMay were my top two. This is from at Spencer Christian Ross. What were the biggest factors for you to take your weight from 215 to 250 pounds? I understand most of that lies in diet, so what sort of increases or changes were most key in breaking into 250 plus? So I never really had like a year I jumped from 215 to 250, and honestly I haven't been 215 since high school, so it helped that I was a pretty bigger kid. I graduated at like 220, 225 in grade 12, so the things that really got me, I kept growing once I got more and more dedicated, I kind of slowly eased into my dedication where I learned how to eat. Obviously, when I learned the amount of food I had to intake, I started to get bigger and bigger, which got me up to 240. But I was still like 19 years old, and I would have like a summer where I would prep and train really hard, and then I would go to school in the middle of the year and I would drink and go out with my friends and party and live the life of a 19-year-old. And then maybe around 21, when I was in my mid-21s, I stopped drinking and I got my diet. I followed a diet plan year-round, not only just in the summer when I was competing. So really that change of being consistent, like instead of 6 months a year, being 12 months a year, being consistent every day, was allowed me to actually push past like the big barriers, like getting to 250, 260 pounds. And it's like you can't even eat 5 days a week. You can't eat your proper 6 meals and then screw off on the weekend. It's literally got to be a 7-day thing, like every week of the year. So just once you can commit to fully every day of every year kind of doing it, you're going to see a lot more changes and make a lot more improvements. At Russo Lift says, why Dodge over Ford and Chevy? Because Mopar or no car, bro. You will never catch me in a Mustang. I don't care what they look like. No question. This guy at Riley_Burt says, what jobs have you held in the past and where do you want your career to go from here? So, what jobs have I had in the past? I'm only 23 now, so in the past I was a student the whole time. But when I was like 15, I think I got my first job at a deli in a grocery store. So I was cutting meat for sandwich meat and some cheese and stuff. And that was when I was in high school. So I remember after high school, I'd like have basketball practice or something, and then I would run across the street to the grocery store and work all night. That was the first job. And then out of high school, I worked for a moving company, and that was actually during my first prep. So the first time ever prepping, I was moving furniture and shit like 9 to 5 every single day, and that was not easy, but it probably helped me get leaner because I wasn't dieting too hard for that show. And after that, I worked at a supplement store, which was the easiest thing ever when you're prepping because you just sit there and try and sell shit. And I also worked at a gym when I was at university, so I worked at my university gym, which was really convenient so because I could sit there and eat, I could train there, I could study, so that helped a lot. Oh, and one job that no one knows about, I was only like 2 months one summer, but I actually worked as a salesman in a perfume store. So that job was honestly like going around the hundreds of perfumes, spraying them on a sheet, smelling it, and trying to like recognize it by its smell and what's in it and what it smells like. So if someone likes, say, Chanel No. 5, you need to like recommend them something that smells just like that. And it was a pretty funny thing, and my friends would come in, they would laugh at me the whole time, but it's a pretty cool trick to be able to smell a girl and tell her what perfume she's wearing, so it paid off a little bit. So at Rusky_Albertovich said, if you had to choose, give one up. If you had to choose to give one up, he worded that wrong. If you had to choose to give one up, dumbbells or barbell? I'd probably give up barbell because dumbbells just allow you, especially in our aesthetic movement of trying to be symmetrical as possible, dumbbells allow you to have the exact same amount of weight in each arm, and it's kind of, you can do more unilateral movements with that, which prevent you from having a legging or increased body part. Whereas a barbell, if your right shoulder's hurt and you're holding a barbell, your left shoulder can take over more weight. So I found I get better contractions and better mind-muscle connection with dumbbells. So 100% I would throw away the barbell and stick to dumbbell. At Brendan Solis says, do you plan to stick with classic physique or move to bodybuilding? So right now, I'm not even thinking that far ahead. I'm thinking about September, and all I want to do is win the Olympia. So obviously in my head right now, I'm sticking with classic physique. And if God bless I win the Olympia and I hold that title for like 5 whatever years, then obviously I'm not just going to be like, fuck this and move on to bodybuilding. Because I like the look of classic physique 100% a lot more. But if I show up in September and they look at me and they're like, you're already too big, you need to move up to open, and they place me bad for that, then I would probably listen and do it because I do love the sport. But I'm praying that doesn't happen because I believe I have a classic physique and this class is meant for me. So hopefully I can stay in here as long as possible and dominate it if possible. At Alex Santiago _ says, what type of music do you listen to? Honestly, I listen to like everything, so it's hard to answer, but it also depends on my mood. So it kind of goes by the seasons too. When I'm in the winter, I always end up listening to rap, I'm kind of cold and I feel hardcore, you know? So I listen to a lot more rap when I train. And then when summer comes along, I used to go to like kind of some festivals and party and whatnot, so I switch a little more to EDM when it starts to get warmer. And so it's usually EDM in the summer to train, rap in the winter, and then when I'm driving, I listen to like country music or classic rock. My girlfriend hates country, so if I put that on, she gets pissed. So country when I'm alone, classic rock when I'm driving. At Wongo15 says, what's your favorite cheat meal? Actually, he said, what's your favorite meal? But I'm gonna go with cheat meal, because I eat the same thing every day. My favorite cheat meal, that's a difficult one. Probably something that has multiple courses. So I like going to a restaurant where I can start with like a flatbread, like a little pizza, as like my appetizer, and then I move on and I get a sandwich, because I love sandwiches. Any kind of place that's known for sandwiches, I will go there. Cold cut meats or chicken and good sauces just on nice bread. It's my favorite thing ever. And then finish with like a nice pastry dessert, like a donut or maybe even cheesecake. But yeah, I guess if I had to pick one of those meals, it would be sandwiches. Some kind of good sandwich. What hair products do you use?
What hair products do you use?
It's a small brand called Lo Severo. It's Sabrina's best friend's boyfriend makes it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So at Hyde_fit asks, what's your current approach to increasing arm size? How often do you train them, volume, and weight? So I've mentioned this before. A main thing I've changed is the frequency at which I train them, but within the frequency I have trained kind of the volume and weight. So I'll train them almost 3 times a week, and at the beginning of the week I'll train them just arms, where I'll go a little bit heavier. So I keep the volume still pretty high, but I'll have a few exercises where I'll do like maybe a close grip bench or like a barbell curl, skull crusher, something heavy where I'm only getting like 6 to 8 reps, and that really allows me to just kind of hammer out some weight, kind of try and build some mass on my arms. And then later on in the week I'll train them back day as well. And when I train my biceps on like as a secondary, I do much higher volume where I'll do like 15 to 20 reps, something a lot more lighter. So I'll grab like 30-pound dumbbells sometimes and just do like 6 sets of that one exercise of like 20 reps each arm, and just try and get a huge pump out of them at the end of a workout. So I always start off heavy at the beginning of the week, and within that workout I still add a bit of volume, but mainly heavy. And then the second time I train it, it's much lighter with more volume, and I'll usually train them a third time with like a combo of both. So I'll only do a really heavy like skull crusher or close grip once a week, but I'll up the weight on like the cable machine. I'll do as heavy as possible for that on my third workout. So 3 times a week, start heavy with lower volume, second time lighter with very high volume, third time is a bit moderate version of both. Alright guys, so if you like this Q&A style of video, comment below, tell me you like it, like the video, whatever, let me know. There were like 500 comments on the photo I took, so a lot of people are obviously interested. So if you guys want to see more, you want to learn more, ask me more questions, comment below and let me know you like the style of video, and I'll answer some more questions and get some more videos out with the same similar style.